Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, rockin' time is here. That's right, we're talking about an episode of CHiPs from 1983 on the show that used to talk about horror films, Kill by Kill. This is Patrick. You know me because you subscribe to our Patreon, and that's what this show is for. It's exclusively for our patrons. And this month we're talking about episode 3 of season 6 of CHiPs, or episode 4. It's called Rock Devil Rock, and it stars a whole cavalcade of very interesting people. But before we get to them, of course, there's only one person I trust that if I put her in charge of smaller children to make sure that they're not given jelly candy with broken glass in it, she'll just choose children her same age to walk around the neighborhood. Or so says the highway police. The one, the only Gina Radcliffe. How are you doing today, Gina?
I am so happy to be talking about this. It just hits so many buttons for me.
Oh, man. It is choice. I could not believe, and I think this is true whenever I revisit, something I used to watch as a child, how languid the pace is.
Oh, yeah, yeah.
It just, all the pinter pauses between everything. And how many times people just look at one another like, da-da, look, da-da,
and yeah,
look.
And how often people who have jobs
Yeah.
aren't ever doing those jobs.
No.
They're just standing around talking.
Just sitting around a big bowl of candy corn, yakking it up.
And it's like, if you're off duty, and I realize that they may be off duty, do you not have homes to go to? Spouses to make love to?
I mean, he's living like what's his face from Once Upon a Time in Hollywood. I did not know that we would find a Once Upon a Time in Hollywood reference in this episode, but yes, one of the highway patrolmen here, whose nickname is Hot Dog.
Is that his name? Because it's not John anymore. This is the last season, and looks and sounds like the last season of a TV show.
Yeah, everyone has given up here.
Yeah, Eric Estrada is basically king shit, and everybody knows it, and so they get some other anonymous blonde guy to replace the other anonymous blonde guy.
Yes. The actor's name was Tom Riley, and he was the third blonde, I believe, they put into this role because Eric Estrada was the king of the walk, I suppose. But he had been introduced as a motocross guy whose nickname was Hot Dog.
And they just add him to the police force as one does.
Yeah, well, once you have motocross qualifications, it's a sideways move into the CHP.
So does that mean like if like someone sees me putting on a Band-Aid particularly neatly, they're going to recruit me to become an EMT?
Yes, on CHiPs. Yes,
okay.
That is what's going to happen.
They're that much to loss for employees.
Yeah, you can see that they don't have a lot of patrolmen about. It's
because they're all hanging around the headquarters all the time.
Yeah. And also, they don't solve a lot of highway crimes on CHiPs. This is the
no, they definitely don't, do they?
No, I mean, I remember this vividly. You have to remember when this show came on. This has been one of those things that I watched as a wee child. Like, I had no concept of what actual police would do versus highway patrolmen. But the thing about CHiPs that was so big for me was that the first couple seasons were filmed on the brand new 2 freeway, which connected the 210 to the 134. And they had just finished it, but it was not open to the public. So while they constructed other parts of it, CHiPs was allowed to film there. And so that was just above where we lived. So I was like, you could look up into the mountains and there was CHiPs happening just close to me. And it never registered to me that the vast majority of the cases that they cover are not highway related.
No, like the LAPD doesn't seem to exist in this universe.
No, the sheriff's department does not exist in this. It just, they patrol everywhere. They're just like combing through neighborhoods, Get on the fucking 405 and do your job.
The word highway is right in your job title.
Yeah, highway does not mean highway and parts of Burbank. Get the fuck on the 134 and do your job, Ponch.
Well, I think that they realized after the first season that you can only have so many cut breaks and carjackings, and they're like, we need to make this more interesting.
Yes, I mean, and they're at their limits here of as far as highway crimes they can investigate. So let's get. I mean, as we said, this is again I think the previous one when we did Quincy, that was the last season.
Yeah.
We should only talk about TV shows in their last season.
They've just given up. See, we're spoiled now by last seasons, Leftovers and shows like that where they really just kind of make that one last ditch effort to leave the audience wanting more. Back in the 80s, these shows were just limping over the finishing line.
Well, they had no fucking competition.
Yeah, I mean, if you look at like Happy Days and all, they're just 2 seasons earlier, they're like, yeah, we don't give a shit anymore.
Yeah, they're just filling in empty spots. They're just hoping for a Poochie to come along and rescue them.
At some point when you have like Mr. Rourke on Fantasy Island, meeting the literal devil, just call it a day. Because you have now suggested he is God Almighty. Where do you go from there?
Is our next episode that we covered the Fantasy Island episode where he meets the actual devil?
Yes, I think it must be. Played by Roddy McDowall.
Oh, well, that's just great casting. I mean, I'd watch Roddy McDowall read the phone book, which I believe he did several times just to make Rent. So yeah, as you might imagine, the opening and we had to search this on YouTube. I did pay for it on YouTube.
Yeah, it's like $3.
For whatever reason, Chips is locked in the Disney vault. I think Sony owns it, but for whatever reason, they just don't make it available everywhere. But and yet it was when I first brought this up, I think it was on Netflix. But okay. But if you were to believe just the opening credits of Chips, it's a show about highway patrol officers, but mainly their fun hobbies.
Yes.
They're sailing, they're playing volleyball.
They're wearing very tiny bathing shorts.
Just the tiniest bathing shorts you can possibly get. It's just like, I need this, but for a 75-pound woman. Could you give that to me? That would be great. It should be noted that this particular episode was directed by John Astin, actor, father of Sean Astin, and of course, the head of the Addams Family for many years, and also played the judge in The Frighteners, a movie we should cover one day.
Yeah, I'm down for that.
Yeah, The Frighteners is fucking awesome. No one at Universal got it at the time, by the way.
Yeah, no, that definitely was a victim of very bad marketing.
Yeah, well, I mean, it was supposed to be a Tales from the Crypt movie, and then but I don't think if you put Tales from the Crypt, The Frighteners, it would have made any difference. It also had Michael J. Fox in it, for Christ's sakes. Not too far from his highest point. So it's a good movie. It just, I think people did not know what to make of it. They didn't know what to make of an R-rated Beetlejuice style horror comedy
with a guy with a Hitler haircut.
Yes. A great guy with a Hitler haircut, that monologue that he gives about what the cult did to him is Oscar worthy.
Yeah.
In my mind.
Yeah.
It's one of the greatest dramatic monologues in the middle of a ghost comedy you're ever going to come across. Oh, what were we talking about again? Chips.
Rock Devil Rock.
Rock Devil Rock. So we open here on crowds outside of Los Angeles's John Anson Ford Theater. John Anson Ford Theater, come for the show, stay, because parking is a fucking nightmare that you can't avoid here. This is, according to a banner, a Halloween matinee.
Because all best Halloween events take place in broad daylight.
Right. No, nothing spookier than a concert at 2 p.m. Just obviously they could not book something at night, and they sure as shit didn't want to pay people to show up at night, and they didn't want to do the stunt at night. So they're like, how do we make a spooky concert happen? Well, say it's a Halloween matinee. Now, according to the timeline of this, the Halloween matinee takes place 2 to 3 days before Halloween. That's I wouldn't, as far as marketing goes, not their best move to say Halloween matinee October 29th. That's not great. But it does make you wonder what the fuck else these dummies are doing at night. Like, you have other plans? If you're an adult, and you want to go to a Moloch concert, you're like, let's take off work. Let's not go at night. We have other plans. I just don't think Moloch fans are people who are like, I don't know, they had to work that night at Arby's. Who's to say? But I did enjoy the protester signs.
Yes.
In
Although my favorite one was one that was in favor of Moloch. That it said, Moloch is the devil's delight.
All the signs are in the same font, whether it's pro Moloch or anti Moloch.
Yeah,
like
they're all clearly written by the same hand.
Yes, they all went to the same prop shop. And this includes We Love Moloch, Stop Devil Music, and my personal fave, which is slightly different than yours, was Moloch is the most.
Now here we have to mention that this episode for me hit a whole lot of weird nostalgia buttons.
Okay.
But only of the shittier parts of my childhood. not personally shitty.
Right.
But like it hits on a whole lot of scaremongering that was happening at the time when we were children.
Mm-hmm.
We would have been 10 or 11 around this time. So you've got the devil's music.
Yeah.
You've got backtracking, which is supposedly you can hear messages from the devil if you played certain songs backward.
Yeah.
And you've got that evergreen. They're putting broken glass in the Halloween candy, which I may point out is a mystery they set up that they did not solve.
No, because
it was just left completely ignored.
Just completely ignored. It is only an excuse to get to this other subplot in which they enlist a child to watch smaller children trick or treat in the middle of the fucking day.
Yeah, and apparently I don't know when this other child who apparently swallowed broken glass and now needs surgery, which I don't know what kind of surgery one would need to have swallow broken glass. He looks fine, a little tired.
He looks like a tired farmer.
At what time was he trick or treating?
Yeah, it's the day before fucking Halloween. What is happening here? The timeline. I don't understand why the highway patrol is involved in this. This is not a highway patrol problem.
No, unless the person's giving out candy on a motorcycle, then it's not their jurisdiction.
Yes, unless they're out on the 101 tossing glass-laden gummies at people into their cars. This is not what you need motorized patrolmen for. That is a police or sheriff's department problem, kids.
But yeah, like 90s kids, you had like you had fun, stuff that was supposedly happening with the young folks, like cuddle puddles and rainbow parties and stuff like that. Yeah. We had the devil's music.
Now, did anyone ever attempt to summon a devil or demon by playing a record backwards in your presence?
No, I mean, I had that one kid in high school who walked around, with the Satanic Bible prominently displayed, but I didn't hang out with that guy, so he never got to play what was a big one? A Stairway to Heaven, I think was the one where you could play it backwards, or various Ozzy Osbourne and Judas Priest songs.
Yes, my neighbor John, who went by JD.
He sounds like bad egg already.
No, actually, I think he was a perfectly okay guy. I just think he was into various heavy metal albums of the time, and he was like, "Have you heard this?" I'm like, "No, I've never heard that before in my life." He goes, "Well, we at least owe it to ourselves to try it." And I was like, I mean, I don't have anything else to do, and you're 3 years older than me, so you must know what you're doing.
Clearly, you think I'm cool, so I will do whatever you say.
I don't know that he did think I was cool. I think he was honestly trying to scare me, and I was too dumb to get it. I was just rock stupid. And so I just sat down on the floor, go, oh, fire it up. Let's see what happens. And nothing happened. We did not summon a demon. I did fall out of his treehouse, though, on my head on a rock.
One of these days, because it's a little too long of a story for a Patreon episode, but I will have to tell my story about how I thought I summoned the devil with a Ouija board. Just hold me to that sometime. The next time we do a an occult themed film, I know we don't do them often, but next time we do, you remind me of that. It's a little too long for this format.
Yeah, I mean, we're opening up the. we can't do 80s slashers for
no.
We have to broaden.
We burned through all the good ones already.
I know. Someone on Facebook was like, "There's too many slasher franchises for you guys to do." When I threatened to quit, and I said, "Oh no, we hit the big ones. We're done. We're good. We can spread our wings. We're fine. We're doing chips now. That's what the audience wants." God. Thank you everyone for sticking around. It's been stressful around here. Okay. But anyways, what were we talking about again? Oh, that's right. Moloch. Moloch is played by Donnie Most.
Donald Most. Thank you very much. Donald.
The Donald Most. The Most Donald of Happy Days fame. So, if you're looking for an actor who is qualified to sit on it, I don't think there's anyone more qualified than Donnie Most.
Yeah, he is playing a basically Kiss if they didn't want to get sued.
Yes. It's Kiss, but a little dash of Sergeant Kabuki Man. Wearing a frizzy curly wig.
This wig is amazing.
I mean, it really holds up when he dunks himself in a pool. So his wig guy, top notch.
Yeah, and he's got it is kind of more kabuki makeup, isn't it?
Well, I mean, I think it's meant to really evoke Kiss.
But, especially when he occasionally performs with a backup band.
Right. And his band's makeup is we don't want to get too close. Is how I just describe their makeup. One of them kind of looks like a baseball fury, and that's as cool as it gets.
Yeah, Moloch's hit single is Devil Take Me, with the most excellent chorus, Devil Take Me, Heaven's the Pits.
And you get to hear it 3 times all the way through.
Yeah, this is as a lot of 80s TV shows which had an episode took place in the music industry. This is written by someone who has no idea how the music industry works.
No,
it is both somehow Devil Take Me is somehow both a hit single that is enough for him to tour on, and yet he's still also in the process of recording it, which I mean, I don't really know anything about the music industry either, but I don't think that's how that works.
No, I mean, he's kind of finished the album, but not quite. But he doesn't want to tour as if like he's burned out on the process. He's a star, but he's going to get big. I don't. Is this his second album? Is it his first? I don't. They just, for all the talking they do, it's all mixed up. Whether or not he's an actual star or he's just come out the gates with a hot single that hasn't been released, but he's also selling out this theater in the middle of the afternoon, and he has protesters
populated entirely by audience members who do not look like they listen to Kiss.
Oh, I do not know where they grabbed this audience B-roll, but it looks like for the US Festival, it is not taking place in the same locale that the actual concert is.
No, absolutely
no,
not.
They blew their.
It may even be just stock footage for all I know.
I'm very sure it is B-roll that they have purchased. But another component,
like a Fleetwood Mac concert or something.
And whenever they got it from, it does fit the actual beat of Devil Take Me. So they've got that going for them, but they also repeat the same footage. So you see the same guy with the darkened lenses bopping along, clapping to it twice. Here's a component of Moloch's sort of aesthetic that I don't understand. And I'm hoping that you can help me figure this out. So obviously the face paint, a big part of the sort of Kiss Alice Cooper look. Okay. But they haven't stopped there. He's wearing a red lame costume.
Yes.
And then on top of that, they've decided to paint the top of his hands so that his hands are doing blackface. It's like he's reaching, is he a chimney sweep? Why would you put makeup on the top of his hands, but leave his chest alone? Like, I know this guy's white, so what is the point of the black hands?
It just looks spooky. He does not.
I don't think it does.
He does not look spooky. Not in the slightest. I mean, I could see, I can kind of see, as clownish as they seem to me, I could see, a Midwestern mom in the 70s being like, really frightened by how Kiss looks.
Yeah. But
no one is thinking this guy looks terrifying or someone you don't want around your children or anything like that. He looks like exactly what he's doing, which is parodying Kiss.
Yes, very much so. And it gets even worse when you see the sort of stagecraft that they've put on with his band. It's just like he's got a bassist, he's got a drummer, he's got a guitarist. We never meet them. We never talk to them. They're not a real part of this. He's got a hearse that has a lovely paint job that they hired someone to do.
Of course, it says 666 on it.
Yes. And then on the stage, you have an altar, a little cup of something so he can spit fire at one point, and loose corn cobs. Just loose corn cobs. What is the loose corn cobs for?
Are they offerings to the devil?
Is this a harvest festival? Are we throwing cow pot? Fuck. I ruined the joke. Are we throwing cow patties later?
I mean, it does kind of look like he's playing like the state fair circuit. And if there's anything you'll find at the state fair, corn dogs.
Right. That's right. So, but there should also be corn dogs and turkey legs and deep fried Oreos on the stage.
That's true.
Those are the things that you look for at a county fair. So we already talked about how this is not a job for Chips to be doing. But we meet yet another replacement person in the cast, and that is Kathy. She's the lady Chip in the group
with an absolutely irritating baby voice.
It's not great. It's not great. But
she's there to basically. So I'm just going to put it bluntly. She will, she's basically there to fuck any of the Chips that will take her. She is constantly just eyeballing them up and down. All of them. She's
a Chips cheerleader, as it were. But she's also given a nightstick, and she's very apprehensive about using it against those protesters. Something I wish carried on to today's police, but sadly not so much.
Well,
yeah. And so when Paunch and Hot Dog show up,
Jesus fucking Christ.
She tells Paunch and Hot Dog that, quote, half this crowd wants to kill him and half the crowd wants to kill him. Kiss him. No, half the crowd wants to kill him and half the crowd wants to kiss him.
No. I refuse to believe that.
No, Gina, this is the game we're playing. It's called Do You Want to Kill Moloch or Kiss Moloch?
I absolutely want to kill Moloch.
I do too. I do not want.
Even when it comes, even when it turns out that he is not lying and he's a victim here, I am not moved.
He's also not acting like someone who isn't Donnie Most in Sergeant Kabuki Man makeup. He's unthreatening in every single way, and it sort of stops and starts at Donnie Most.
Yeah, I'm not sure why this casting decision was made. I mean, I suppose
he was available.
I suppose by 83 you were still like, hey, Donnie Most.
Yeah, like we got to get somebody that TV audiences know and love. Donnie Most? Sure, for the rock star role? No, that'll be great.
Yeah, like when I was reviewing old TV shows for my blog, I watched some sort of Paul Lynde take on the night before Christmas, and just for no reason whatsoever other than it aired on the same network he was on, like Posse shows up in it, and the audience is like, whoa!
Oh my god, Posse!
It's just like, oh, that was a time.
I don't know if I want to kill you or kiss you. And it's a question we still ask ourselves to this day. I will give Donnie Most this. The best acting he does in this episode is throat acting, because when he's singing, it looks like every vein and every artery and every ligament is out for show. It's like he's been training. Like, do you see how fit my neck is?
Yeah, it's the most exhausting lip syncing I've ever seen.
It really is.
Because that made his pipes.
Yeah. Oh man, the amount of shoe leather for a lead singer to drive himself home after a concert is
I love that he's the hottest new act in town, but he drives himself home.
He's gonna drive his own prop
still in
home.
Full makeup with the wig on.
They're not giving him a limo. He's not gonna take a shower. It's just straight in the
I don't know if you ever done like well, you've done theater, so you've probably worn like the pancake makeup and shit.
Sure.
You are taking you are taking that
kid.
off the minute you are done whatever you have to do on stage.
Listen, after various performances, I was one of those dorks who would go out to eat at the diner with all my makeup.
With the makeup on, Patrick.
I was not cool and remain blissfully uncool to this day.
I just could feel my skin cracking. That's why I had to take it off.
Yeah, I didn't know any better. I was a big dummy. Speaking of star power, the Hollywood Squares' own Peter Marshall is here in a rare acting role. And I say rare because his performance is very undercooked.
And yet you will figure out the twist of this in this episode the minute he appears on screen.
No, and I think it's a problem because he's almost the only other person who talks in this particular subplot in the A plot. So it has to be him. There's literally no other suspects other than Donnie Most doing it to himself.
Right.
You have two choices. That's it.
Because they weren't in this family-friendly TV show. They were not going to make it the actual literal devil.
Yeah, no, but that would have been cool if they really decided for the Halloween episode that Satan himself was like, I'm gonna take care of this one guy. I'm fucking sick of it. This guy's going down. It appears that, Moloch does not want to tour on this new album. Not that we know that there was a previous one. So, Devil Take Me on vacation. Devil Take Me to the Bahamas. Who knows where the devil wants to take him in these lyrics? We'll never find out. So Paunch and Hot Dog are driving Moloch along what I would technically not call an actual highway. That would be a road that they've closed off.
Yeah, and then Moloch, his tape player starts playing by itself.
Yes.
And there's a message: Moloch must die.
Yes. He's listening to his own song after he's just spent 5 minutes playing it to other people. It's like, oh, I got to drink this in. I love this gig so much.
And then pink smoke starts erupting from the radio. My favorite part about my favorite part about this whole scene is when he kind of flags down Ponch and John and opens his window and like smoke billows out, and Ponch leaves and says, "What's wrong?"
What's happening here? It seems like a lot of smoke for one car, feller. And why is it pink? What's the haps? You want to pull over maybe a little bit? But it turns out that Moloch cannot stop his own car. It is speeding up, and the brakes have been tampered with. And so, this is a real problem. He's veering in and out of traffic. No one knows what to do. Hot Dog's like, what are we going to do? And Ponch has a very simple plan. Abandon his own motorcycle and attempt to climb into this other car that has no brakes.
Of course it works. And pull out Moloch.
Yes.
And then what is his real name? Like Nick or something like that. I think he reveals his real name at the end of the episode.
Yeah, I forgot to write it down. I didn't care about it.
And put him get back on the motorcycle.
Yeah.
And then drive away. And somehow this car with failed brakes is going to politely drive around other cars and then drive off the median.
No, it just goes off on its own accord. And we're never threatened with, oh my God, that's the end of the road up ahead. That would have been a simple enough thing, but they don't do that. So it just kind of keeps on driving until it hits a fence.
Kind of slowly drifts into a ditch. And then, of course, it explodes.
Just instantly hits soft, wet grass and then explodes.
It's the most casual explosion you'll ever see.
It really is like, boom. I mean, why didn't it explode before? Was it always meant to explode? It's not the crash that should cause it to explode, but
well, maybe maybe it was whatever was causing the smoke to billow out. The pink smoke.
The pink smoke. Yes. But that's the thing. If you're going to kill him, why not just put a bomb in the car and have it explode?
Well, the bomb comes later.
True. But if you needed to kill this dude and your goal is like, oh, I'm going to have him like he drives away in this hearse, put a car bomb in the hearse and blow him up.
Yeah. I mean, this is one of those, yeah, and again, this is something of 80s, mystery shows or, action shows where the villain has a absurdly elaborate plot.
Yes. An elaborate plot that he doesn't have a backup to. And he's like, oh, give me a couple days and I'll figure out how to really kill this guy off. Thank goodness Peter Marshall is in hot pursuit of this and has an entire Lincoln Continental full of the media so they can give an impromptu press conference in front of this gate out by LAX. It's just very weird. Cut to candy corn. It's the captain and it's Ponch. It's Hot Dog. It's Kathy.
And the entire day shift of the California Highway Patrol. Just chilling.
Just chill. When they're done, the highways are on their own. It's Mad Max out there when it's time for candy corn. No one else is available. And at one point, Hot Dog says, Ponch, what do you want me to put in the report? The devil dude it?
Yeah, for some reason, like this guy just like, yeah, I don't fucking believe what this person says.
Yeah.
Which is really the attitude you want from a police officer. That, what you have told me is the most ridiculous thing that I've ever heard, and I'm not going to believe it.
But I mean, here's the thing though, is that the captain is not listening to Ponch when he says, I saw his face. He was scared. You can't fake fear. I'm pretty sure you can. It's called acting. That is not.
Let's point out a little bit of trivia. The captain,
Uh-huh. Yes.
Chris Pine's dad.
Oh, that's right. I forgot all about that. So because does that mean that Chris Pine grew up Mormon?
Possibly.
Oh. Well, now I have something to talk about when I run into Chris Pine because we run in the same circles.
Also in the cast is Paul Link.
Yes.
From Kill by Kill MVP for appearing in Motel Hell as a bafflingly rapey hero.
And as unconvincing as he was as a sheriff in that, he remains unconvincing.
He's even less convincing as a highway patrol cop.
I mean, you never see this guy in an actual motorcycle.
He's kind of the village idiot of the police station.
Yeah. I mean, he's just kind of like the goofus, the yokel that they all laugh at. It's just around to have someone whose uniform is barely conforming to mandates.
And everybody's uniforms is like a size too small.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, there is some serious moose knuckling action going on in this episode.
There's very little difference between the CHiPs uniforms here and the uniforms that they put people in Buck Rogers in the 25th century.
Yeah, well, the show is ostensibly meant to be a family show, which is why a guest star we had not mentioned yet has her costume a little bit altered in a way that is both hilarious and obvious. But also like, this is a little something for the ladies.
Yeah.
So the men's outfits and like their casual out of uniform outfits are even tighter.
Yeah, that is a weird thing. Apparently, none of the cast or crew of CHiPs was told that the 70s had ended 3 years prior.
Yeah, so you've got the shirts unbuttoned halfway down the chest.
Yeah, it's really odd. They look completely out of step with the times. I mean, Miami Vice will air next year. That's how out of tune this is with the times. They look
it's like it
basically
in the world of CHiPs, like this 1978 forever.
Yes, they're just hot tubbing for all time, eternal. Paul Link shows up and he looks like he's got cooked eggs all over him, but it turns out he ran over a pumpkin.
He wants to send a child to jail.
Yes, wanted to set up this child on murder charges, attempted murder charges, because of a pumpkin in the road that he ran over. That child is named Flippy.
Flippy, played by Metallica bassist Robert Trujillo. That's not weird enough.
Oh my God. Apparently he had quite a career for himself at one point in time. He was also in Encino Man playing Infectious Grooves bassist.
This is the the guest starring role that would normally have been played by Mino Peluche. And you know who Mino Peluche is. You're really fucking old.
That is a deep fucking pull, Tina. Holy shit.
But you knew what I was talking about.
Yes. Apparently Robert also ended up in Suicidal Tendencies. So, yeah.
Both bands inspired by Moloch.
True. Both bands would never have come to fruition without Moloch. So there you go, kids. It all makes sense. And then at one point, while they're arguing whether or not Moloch is actually telling the truth or not, Paunch tells the story of how he was riding his bicycle home and nearly hit a woman in his old neighborhood while he was carrying potatoes, and they were cursed, and therefore the devil is real. There's a real monologue in this program that really exists. He's like, listen, crazy things can happen. My potatoes were cursed by a witch. Like, okay. I believe you less now. But then it turns out that Hot Dog has his motorhome is haunted by a bird, which won't be the last time we talk about a bird tonight.
I mean,
an inappropriate home bird.
I still I would still honestly freak out if like a crow got into my home.
Yeah, yes, it's disturbing
because crows, traditionally symbolize not good things. So whether it got in through a vent or not, I would still be like, okay, I need to like burn some sage or something.
Yeah, like death, foreboding, candy corn. What else?
Murderous ghosts, vengeful ghosts.
Yeah. Rockwell, all sorts of things are what they foretold. So it turns out that they salvaged the cassette tape and the tape deck. And we learned this when Hot Dog is walking down the sort of hallway of Chip's headquarters. And Captain comes out and says, "What are you doing?" And he goes, "Oh, they salvaged the tape deck. It was still intact. Intact. Not intact. Intact. Do you want a second take of that?" No, we didn't. Listen, Hot Dog's good for one take.
Even though
season 6, we're on the way out.
Even though in another scene, I'm pretty sure the captain said that they couldn't save anything from the car.
Yeah. No, but they could save the cassette tape.
Which seems like that would be a pretty big deal.
Yeah, you would think. You would think that evidence would be in the report, but apparently the captain wanted to bury that. I'm not sure. Maybe he's in on it. Maybe him and Peter Marshall have a side deal going.
But you spoiled it. The fuck, man?
Sorry. Spoiler alert for an episode of television that came out in October of 1983. Peter Marshall did it.
Spoiler alert if you are both blind and hard of hearing. If you've never seen a television show or a movie ever before in your life.
Yeah, Knives Out, this is not. Let's just put it that way. There's very little mystery to what is happening here. What is a mystery is who convinced Cassandra Peterson to show up in this episode.
Well, she was still. How long has she been doing the Elvira part at this point?
I mean, if I sort of remember correctly, this is around the time that she started showing up on Channel 9 at 4:00 in the afternoon on Saturdays, and doing Elvira. I'm not entirely sure when that exactly started. Let me see if I can look that up real fast. Movie Macabre started in 1981. So this is 2 years into it.
So she probably was not entirely known nationwide yet.
I mean, I think she had shown up in various places. Wait a second.
She was in another episode.
This is not the first time that she shows up on Chips.
And yet, everybody acts like they've never met her before.
No one looks like they met her. There's an episode called Things That Go Creep in the Night that also has Elvira in it. And this is episode 21. So this is twice this season she shows up. So she made an impression. An investigation into an amnesiac's past is enlivened by spooky dealings at the home of an eccentric comic book creator.
Why would highway patrolmen need to be involved in that?
I think they gave up all sort of anything having to do with whether or not this was a real thing. It's just they stopped worrying about that a long time ago. It should be noted that Cassandra Peterson, that while she's best known for Elvira, she was an early groundling, right along the same time that Pee Wee Herman was coming into vogue. She's a great improv actress, and she's a fantastic human being on top of it. Cassandra Peterson is top notch.
Yes.
She rockets to the top forever.
She's the only one that gets out of this episode with her dignity intact.
She is without a doubt the best actor in this program. Hands down. Every time she's in it, you feel like you're in the hands of a professional, whereas everyone else, you're like, do they know their lines? And when it comes to Hot Dog, he doesn't.
Well, yeah. I mean, you can tell she's a good actor because she has to act like she's attracted to Ponch.
Now, I will defend Eric Estrada, and he's easy on the eyes. I just don't think his attitude is particularly.
I think he's a little too confident in himself, yes. and you know that could be a turnoff.
I believe you. Yeah.
Like he like when he approaches women, he's got the hip cocked out, he's got the blinding white teeth on. He's a little bit like an action figure brought to glorious life.
Yes, very much so. At one point, Donnie Most looks into a mirror and says, "Devil, I want to tongue your tail." What does that mean?
Wow, I think I missed that. Is this an analingus reference on this family program?
Fuck if I know, man. I don't know. But
I must have
when
been
he's having that meeting with Peter Marshall and he's like, I don't think I want to do this. Okay, I'll do it for old time's sake. And then the makeup artist is halfway done and he puts on the wig and he looks in the mirror and goes, "Devil, I want to tongue your tail."
Oh, okay. I remember that part. I wasn't quite sure what he said. Wow.
That's what I heard. Then. If someone else has a better interpretation for this episode that is very hard to watch, go for it. When it comes to publicity stunts, I don't think faking your choking and then letting a blood bag go is going to get you the press you want.
Yeah, no, I don't quite follow that line of thinking.
Yeah, like in Cream magazine, they're going, "Oh, you wouldn't believe this. He was saved by a highway patrol officer for some fucking reason."
A lot of times, again, like a lot of there was an episode of Law and Order that even went down this route where it suggested that if a musician died,
mm-hmm.
that they would sell more records. And I don't know what the following I don't know what the logic of that is.
Yes.
Where you have to, the best way you can sell albums to have your star die spectacularly.
Yeah, I can't. I mean, that is a entertainment fiction. I don't know that really works out in real life. There is a certain thing of musicians who die early on, but they were stars at the time they died.
Right. Like and yes, it's Peter Marshall. You will know that immediately.
He looks very guilty throughout.
His plan is to have Moloch die, and somehow this will turn him into a legend of rock, who will eternally sell albums.
Yeah.
And I mean, I could go down a list of a lot of bands who lost a member relatively early on, and I mean, you got your Blind Melons. You got your Sublimes, which, they did pretty well for a little while. But the manager is carrying on like he's going to be like Elvis. Like he just like, people are going to be so taken by the story of this, this young musician taken far too soon and, possibly killed by the devil himself. And it's like, no. I mean, for a little while, fine. But like they're gonna remember you forever.
Yeah.
I mean, how many young people are discovering Elvis now? And that's Elvis.
Very true. Very true. Yes, when we played Elvis for Oliver, he's like, "Is this good?" Some of it is okay. It's not like the Beatles where he will request the Beatles or request some of the soul music that he used to play for him as a small child, but no, he's never gone back to the Elvis well ever. No.
But yeah, I mean, rather than try to continue managing this person's career and boosting him to a superstar status, well, we'll just kill him off. That'll make it easier. We'll make more money that way. Will you though?
Yeah, would you really make more money off of killing him than forcing him to tour?
Recording one album?
Yeah, couldn't you put somebody else in the fucking makeup and just pay off Donnie Most? That seems like an easier gig. And then you don't have Paunch and Hot Dog on your tail. You know what I mean?
I can't believe that.
It's a real fucking thing. It was weird how much of Chips flashed back to me watching this episode. It was sad. And
yeah, they went with the Dukes of Hazzard. These people won't know the difference.
No, what's one blonde guy with a hair butt as opposed to another one? They're all the same. So Flippy is given the job of observing other children while they trick or treat because they've heard that biker gangs are stealing kids' candy. And lo and behold, we later see him escorting children who appear to be his exact same age. I still don't understand this. One is a Zorro, one is a princess, one is a devil, and one looks like a barfly who claims to be a record producer but isn't. I don't. He looks like there was this one package that we found at a dollar store. There was a Halloween costume that was called Instant Hobo, and it looks like that. It looks like Instant Hobo. These kids, lo and behold, one of their candy bags is stolen, not by a biker gang, but by a 14-year-old on a 10-speed.
Yeah. Who just comes by on a bicycle and just snatches the bag out of the kid's hand. Yeah.
And then Flippy pulls another kid off of his 10-speed and is in hot pursuit after him. Now, you can all tell where this is going. You have two children on 10-speed bikes racing after one another. This is a common tale. One of them veers in front of traffic. The other one gets stuck underneath a gas truck. And then another car careens off of two other cars into it, and it starts a gas fire and it explodes. Yeah. Tale as old as time.
Yeah, and somehow, even though Moloch's car explodes immediately, the gas truck allows enough time for Paunch to rescue Flippy.
Yes. And not only that, but Hot Dog, in rescuing the young woman from the car that is flipped over, grabs a lot of ass getting that girl out of that car. It's like, whoa, Hot Dog. Oh my God. So you've got two big stunts for the episode. That's all they can afford. And we use Flippy to get to it. Let's get back to our main plot. Let's really wrap this up. Now, they're going to, instead of going on tour, Marshall has devised a way that he can at least profit off of Moloch, and that is to film what he refers to as a promotional film, or the rest of humanity would call a music video.
Yeah, I don't know why they thought that that was something that was protected by copyright.
Yeah. So,
everything about this episode though screams we don't want to be accused of copyright violation.
No.
We can't afford a copyright lawsuit.
They're afraid of being sued by the California Highway Patrol, by rock and roll in general,
by the devil.
Yeah, the devil has the best lawyers. And so at one point, Moloch, Donnie Most, is prepping his fire spitting gag. And it requires two things to be put together in mixture, and one requires just 2 drops of this other chemical. And Peter Marshall comes up to him and says, "Are you being careful?" And Donnie Most says, "Yeah, I'm being squeaky careful." That's not a term. That's not a term human beings say, squeaky careful. Do you want to take 2? Nope. We don't have time.
We have to shut down at 5 p.m. sharp.
Listen, Eric Estrada has dinner reservations in Venice. He has got to go. And this music video makes Benny Mardones's Into the Night look like Madonna's Vogue. It is a room with some curtains in it. There's nothing happening in this space. This sound mixing studio on the Sony lot, I'm assuming. But I guess it's a bomb or it's poison. I don't know what the ultimate
explodes
thing is.
When another thing I missed was how did Ponch and Hot Dog figure out that it was the manager? I think I missed that part.
I don't know that. Well, no, they must have figured out that it was the manager. I guess because the backward masking. Because I don't know. I don't know that they ever say out loud, it's got to be the producer. They just know that Donnie Most is in trouble. So they break into this recording studio. Ponch, being the lead of the show, saves Donnie Most by knocking the canister out of his hand and it explodes. And then Hot Dog arrests Peter Marshall for reasons.
And, and Moloch is just kind of, okay, I guess my manager was trying to kill me this whole time.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. I get it. Who'd want to put up with me, I suppose. And they all look at one another and like, it's another day on the job for the people who solve highway crime. And that's it.
And luckily they get to chill out at a party because everybody is apparently off duty.
Everyone is off duty.
This is weird. This is weirder than remember the episode. I mean, it's a chilling episode, but it's one that also kind of drives me a little mad too. The episode of ER where they had a Valentine's Day party, and two of the doctors get stabbed, and one of them eventually dies, and they are blasting music in this ER, and it's like, do you not have patience in here right now? And it's like, it was just such a weird thing. Like ER is pretty accurate. And then no, we want this to happen at a party for some reason. So we're going to have this party with music and snacks in the middle of the ER.
Yeah. Oh, that's weird. Yeah, no.
But yeah, it's like everybody's off duty. Wearing these elaborate costumes that were apparently made the day before.
Well, Kathy knows someone who works at a studio is the excuse that we're given. But we are also treated to everyone's dancing in here. And if you have ever wanted to watch the most awkward dancing you've ever seen in your life.
It's white people dancing at its best.
These are the whitest of the white people. It's just like a whole lot of people going hunk, 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 hunk across the floor.
Elvira is at the party because apparently the guy who planned the party was able to talk her into it. Because again, this is a family program. Somebody decided that she was showing a little too much boobage, and so they just very subtly stick a spider web in her cleavage. It actually does the opposite. It draws your eyes more to her cleavage.
Yeah, you're wondering, why does her cleavage look like a spider? It doesn't make any sense. Now, again, Elvira was on in Los Angeles at 4 p.m. in the afternoon. Or they could have just given
her a different costume.
Yes, she's in different clothes the entire time. Just put her in a completely modified Elvira getup. Don't just put a spider over her cleavage. That's even weirder. Oh my God. And the amount of time it takes for Ponch, Hot Dog, and Donnie Most to walk across this room, you're like, oh my God, you will believe 3 people can cross a party. It's just given the most weight of anything in this episode. And finally, Elvira is like, I want to fuck you on the dance floor, Ponch. And then Hot Dog's like, I want to get in on this action. Hot Dog invites himself to their dates. And you're kind of like, I know that Elvira can handle it. She's Elvira. But I don't think Ponch's ego can handle.
Yeah, I don't think Ponch into that.
No, I think Hot Dog is I believe Hot Dog's been a part of plenty of threesomes just because he looks like a himbo who would be hired by a rich couple. He's got that vibe. But I don't know, Ponch, I don't think he plays that game Elvira owns her sexuality. She can do whatever she wishes. And that's rock.
Hail
Devil
Satan,
rock.
everyone.
It's Satan. It's quite possible that Satan may have been Peter Marshall. We just have to put that out there.
That he might have been the literal devil.
Yeah.
I mean, I suppose.
I mean, it would be the ultimate X takes the square, Gina.
That might be an older reference to me dropping Mino Police. Only the freshest and hottest, everyone.
Yes. Always listen to an episode with the Wikipedia open because you're going to need it to hit all those references.
Fuck are these folkies talking about?
Fuck you, boomer. We're Gen X! So that just about does it.
The reason why we had to do this episode is because the winner of our You Picked a Movie unfortunately did not respond to our email. Yeah. So what I would recommend that the folks who were at the $10 or more level, or folks that are planning on being at the $10 or more level at some point, check your email with Patreon, because you may have an old email address, and we let people know if they want the drawing by email. So yeah, we kind of had to do this as a rush job because we just didn't get a response from our winner this month. So check your emails, make sure they are current, because we don't want to not give everyone the chance to do this very fun thing.
Please. And we appreciate everyone here on Patreon. We appreciate your support. It makes this job infinitely easier. It keeps us free, our regular episodes, and allows us to do research and all that good stuff. And hopefully in the future, we'll be doing more stuff on Patreon, including maybe giving you some exclusive access to our upcoming t-shirt shop.
Yeah,
that's a real thing that's going to happen, y'all.
I died recently, so we kind of had to hit a reset button on our plans for what we were going to do with Patreon. But it's going to happen. I'm feeling much better.
It's going to happen. It's going to happen. Listen, Gina's alive. That means we have to fulfill our destiny now.
Yes.
That she ascended to heaven, and God pointed at her and said, "Get down there and do more podcasts."
Yes. You need to talk about chips.
Can you believe that one episode that Elvira's in and they covered up her boobs? Back to Earth with you. See you in 5. What do you mean 5? It's my impression of Gina's near-death experience. I'm getting signal from Oliver that it is time for me to go to dinner, and that means it's time to wrap it up. And so thank you to all of our patrons. Next month we'll be back with who knows what we'll be doing. Probably an actual movie, or maybe not. I don't know. We've abandoned all of our principles on the show and decided to just have fun. So until then, for myself and for Gina, goodbye, everybody.
Bye.